Shikinjyo feels really old-fashioned for a game released in 1991. It's a very bare-bones presentation, and the game itself is about as trivial as they come. It's a puzzle game with some very basic mechanics, and not really great puzzle design. It's also a bit infamous on the Famicom. Shikinjyo is the final game that Toei Animation published on the Famicom, and they're departing the system with the same commitment to quality that they've always demonstrated. They published 14 games on the system, and I'd say that 12 of them rank among the worst games on the Famicom. Now, despite the fact that Shikinjyo uses mahjong tiles, it is not a mahjong game. Instead, it's a puzzle game based on sokoban, and you can change out the tile set. So you can push blocks but not pull them, and some blocks are permanently affixed in place. If you push a movable block next to one of those, it transforms into an immovable block. If you push a movable block next to an identical block, then all of those matching blocks that are adjacent vanish. If you push a block so that it touches one of the blockers and a matching block at the same time, the block you pushed is transformed into a blocker and nothing is erased. Your goal is to get to the door. Reaching it ends the stage, and there are 150 stages in the game. They actually front-load the difficulty, as the first few stages are significantly more difficult than later stages. It took me about 15 minutes to clear the first two, and then I started zipping through them at the rate of about 1 a minute. So don't expect puzzle design that guides you towards understanding the game's principles. Hitting the A button will rewind time a bit, and you can go up to 5 block pushes back. The B button opens a menu where you could choose to restart the level, change what level you're playing, see your password for continuing later, and change the tile set. Besides the hopping vampire with mahjong tiles, you've got a knight and a ninja. And I should point out in the case of the ninja that those symbols are manji, not swastikas. If it was in a European context, then they'd be Oh, don't do that. On some stages, the door isn't immediately visible. It's hidden below a block, and you just have to clear things out until you find it. On other stages, walking on certain spots will reset the stage. There's no real indicator of which spots are bad, but you might be able to intuit a path from where the blocks are placed. On very rare occasions, there are items hidden beneath bricks, like this pickaxe you can find. After you collect it, you can destroy one immovable brick. This is going to be a very short video since Shikinjyo is one of those puzzle games with a very basic rule set and not a lot going on. But there is the thing that it's remembered for, and that is Shikinjyo is an unbeatable Famicom game. Yes, there are 150 stages, and if you beat stage 150, then you get an ending. But to beat stage 150, you first must beat stage 146. And stage 146 has no solution. The only option to get around it is to enter a password for a later stage. Perhaps Toei stopped making Famicom games after this one out of shame. As for the other 149 puzzles in Shikinjyo, they're not well designed. There are a few that I encountered that required that I think for a minute and identify which pieces could be safely moved, which pieces could be eliminated, and how I could open a path to the door. But most of the stages were trivially obvious, or ones that required more persistence than thought, and the levels where the door was covered up or you had to figure out the invisible path were just tedious. The rule set here is a reasonable expansion of sokoban, but very few of the puzzles are actually interesting. There's a reason that it's only known as the bad unbeatable puzzle game on the Famicom. This isn't one that you'd play for fun.